community school approach to us is building partnerships, whether it's with an individual, a community group, or other organizations like the healthcare sector, employability. And that just means a school needs to have an ability to make good things happen for their students, for the teachers, for the staff, for the families, and the extended community around it. And the school was always the heart of a village. And I think sometimes we kind of steered away from that. But the CLC approach is just bringing that back to ensure that we optimize the facilities, the resources, and the knowledges that are in all our communities to offer services to our students, their parents, their grandparents, and everybody else who circles around it. So our hub model for 15 schools and centers is we have 4 people and we split it up as best we can. So we have 3 of them that have a hub school and 2 sister schools or cousin schools, and we have 1 that has multiple schools, and that's more in a setting where all the schools are 4 or 5 minutes away. And we've tried to make our hubs strategically positioned that they're at kind of places where multiple schools are around them. Our valley schools and our Chateauguay elementary schools both feed into those high schools. So you're still serving that community sometimes that maybe an activity that could be for someone in grade 3 or grade 4. Maybe if the building's not open because of just logistics of that elementary school, why not have it at the high school, which is open that evening or later on? Just because that's not their school, you could still do it there because they live in proximity. And I can tell you, when you've stepped in multiple schools, that kid who's in grade 3 said, I've been at that high school before, I've done this. I feel more like these are little moments that their comfort level feels a lot better, that they've been to those other schools that maybe they're going to go to after. And you just feel like this is my place. Even if I'm not there yet, it's a place for me that's welcoming, that wants me to succeed in life, and that cares about what I care about too. A hub school in our extended model is a CDA may have a hub school where 3 out of the 5 days they'd be based out of that school. So we have hub schools in 2 of our high schools, and one of the schools that's in a county that's a little bit further away, that's kind of forgotten from time to time, and one's in an adult center where poverty and lack of opportunities has been systemic for years and years. The CDA helps in that hub thing, but it's very simple. We will put other schools with them that are proximity close. So that means they would be more in a position to work with the community organizations who have boundaries that are sometimes within that catchment area. But also, if we're doing a project that works at school X, it's the easiest thing to just do the same thing at another school because the problems or the challenges are very similar. You're not reinventing the wheel, and the person who would have helped maybe facilitate that at this school goes, well, we can do this literacy program at school XYZ, which may be 20 minutes away in our school board, but it's a whole other principal, a whole other staff. They just may not know. We take for granted that everything that happens in all our schools are known by everyone. That is completely false. There are so many amazing things that just happen under the radar. And that word, we're the best kept secret of all the amazing things, I would say that hinders understanding of all the great things that can be done in other places. It's unfortunate when you're a best kept secret. That means you're doing something right and you're efficient. It's just not known by others who can then kind of have those things happen. So those hub projects that work well can happen in another place. And if I'm a community group, or let's just say a partner who's like, I would love to reach 5 schools. I'll have to call 5 different principals to do the same conversation over and over. At times you would, but if a CDA who kind of is able navigating the space, like I know exactly what we need here, I know exactly, that can kind of speed up the process and go, listen, I know you want to do that, but at this school, they may have more challenges with transportation because it's further to get to, or it's a school where the kids walk to or something, that helps make the projects happen a lot quicker because it's not like we're starting from scratch. One example that I've seen happen over the last few years is the intergenerational opportunities. There are so many seniors and knowledge base from the people in this territory who want to give back, who want to be able to help kids and stuff like that. So at one school, they'll have like a pen pal club where seniors would write from an old folks home to a school, and the kids would write to them, and then they'd go visit and get to know them and stuff like that, or doing different types of projects where isolation for seniors is tough, right? So getting a letter from kids who are practicing their literacy skills is amazing. It's not a hard project to do, but it worked so well at one school, and then it would be heard from other places, other CHSLDs, other schools in our network going, well, we could do that also. There's one across the street. Like, how can we just do that? So understanding the project where the CDA would be like, well, this is how it worked. Whether that's the CDA from that area, our CDAs meet every 6 weeks. So the one who's like, well, I know how my project works, tells the other one, well, that's really simple, ensuring that that organization is there or something similar. We know of a school that's willing, just explaining how to do it, and it just kind of happens. So it happened in other schools. And it becomes something that's part of our fabric here, intergenerational projects, finding ways to bridge those gaps and get the knowledge base from seniors, bring it to kids, but then feeling part of this community. We talk all about sense of belonging. A sense of belonging has to have a sense of belonging to its history, to its past, and to its future. The past is done through the seniors, the future is done through children. You got to bridge those two together. A sense of belonging doesn't just happen because you say, je me sens partie d'ici. Well, how do you? Well, I've gotten to know a lot of people. We do projects. There's all kinds of things that make you feel like this is authentic. Authentic learning is done not by just one-offs. They're done by systemically doing it over and over. So the school system itself has everyone who has defined roles, but they're almost overloaded in those defined roles. So a CLC person has a role of helping to find partnerships and a little bit more flexibility from time to time that, yes, they'll have to do certain things at certain times, but they will put the energy and time to say, listen, we got to dig a bit deeper, make a better relationship with this group or that partner to make sure that we can be more efficient in how we reach our families and support them. So we have to be at those tables de concertation. We have to be outside of the walls to make those relationships happen, but even more importantly, to maintain those relationships. And a CLC person helps with that, keeping the relationship, because all partnerships start with people, and you got to be able to get to know one another, find out what you can do and what I can do, and then it just keeps going. Sometimes the services are there. There's just not a relationship that's existing. And that one relationship will change it at 180. That now that service can also happen. But you've got to be relationship based. And then sometimes there is no service. Perfect example, in our area, immigration and new arrivals is more and more that's happened into areas that has not historically seen that. So there's not even a community group in some of our areas that are dedicated to those new arrivals. Their kids end up at schools and their families end up looking for jobs. So it's like there's community groups that can help them, and they may be needing help for housing, food security, jobs, all kinds of stuff. There was a shortage, so it's been identified, and us as a school can advocate also saying, yes, it's affecting our relationships. And I know in the French sector, languages, they'd have des classes d'accueil, different types of things. So we're trying to find ways as a community, as an area, whether it's the school system, the healthcare system, employability, social services, every one of them, nonprofits have a role to play when there's bigger holistic issues. Now, if you want to work intersectorial, that means outside of this sector. That means outside of the school system. Healthcare, social services, nonprofits, they're all there with the same type of wants to help the families that are in our schools, but sometimes they just can't reach those families. I don't know how to reach your population. The most obvious first place you would be to reach the English-speaking population is through the English, or I would say bilingual school system. It is the most obvious place that you could start to reach that mass critique of people. If we don't have relationships with them, of course it'll live on the peripheral and it'll be just one-offs. Our school system is a conduit to reach our population. We have to make sure the doors are open in a way that we can have dialogue to find ways to help our population.